take me back to Jay's Sports Shop, your first sponsorship. Tell me about that.
Shout out to Jay's Board Shop. I don't think it's around anymore, but it was right down the street from my house where I grew up in Laguna Hills, and that was the first place that you got to, like a skate shop back then. Still to this day, I guess you could too, but you get to go there and just like experience something that you've like, one place that has one thing that you're just in love with.
Yeah.
And it has all these different things. And like when it comes to boards, the shoes, the clothing, and then there's people that work there. I will say it's a little intimidating going to a place. Yeah. Anything you don't know, you're going in, you're like trying to be quiet. But eventually I got to know them really well. I ended up working there. I am getting sponsored by them at an early age. And the guys that work there that sponsored me for the first time, shout out Vince Domingo. He was the one that was team manager. He worked at LRG back then. Oh, wait, he worked from Jay's and then went to LRG.
Wow. So was that also where you got the Golden Wheel sponsor too, through Jay's?
Yeah, what the hell? Yes, I did. I was at Jay's, and this guy Chris there had given out my tapes to, or Jason Oliver too. Shout out Jason Oliver. He worked at LRG too. Okay. Would give my tape out to all the reps and whatever, and they got and I gave it to the guy at Gold, and they were just starting up, and he started sending me wheels, and I was like, "What?
That's crazy!" But at 13, right? Because how old were you around that time?
At that time, I got sponsored when I was 13, but like when I got wheels, I was like 17.
Wow. So, but 13 years old and being sponsored, that's actually kind of dope.
It was cool. I mean, back then, when I remember Vince picked me up. He's like, I'm going to take you, because he would skate with him, see him around, but he took me skating with him with some guys on the team. And I like did a couple tricks, and they weren't like, looking back, they weren't that good, but back then they were kind of good for a young kid. And then he's like, drops me off. He's like his hatchback, drops me off at my mom's house, like one of the house I grew up in. And he's like, oh, by the way, you're on the team. And I was like, I ran in the house.
Oh my goodness!
My mom was asleep. I woke her ass up. I was like, "Mom, I got sponsored!" Like it was pretty cool. Like it was really rad back then. And I think all the kids back then, when you got in the junior high, they were skating, and then in the high school they kind of stopped. But at that point, it was like pretty cool if you were sponsored.
Yeah. Right. And then I feel like, especially during that time, it took so much more to be sponsored because you had to get like a tape put together, right? It was just like a lot of back end work versus now, because I feel like people can just post on social media sometimes, right? And get sponsored versus like, all the work that you guys had to do.
Yeah, you can get discovered pretty easily now. Yeah. And that's cool. Like as a team manager myself now, or like I can it's cool to find skaters just through that, like whatever. Yeah. But back then I showed my skills, as you want to say, I skated in front of a bunch of people. They hooked me up, and then word got out, and then I started making tapes and sending those out.
Wow. And then shortly after, when you were like 18, 19, that's when LRG came about, and that was like one of your big sponsors, right? Big sponsors after that? Oh,
so my first big sponsor was there was a couple of little things, and then the big one was getting on Expedition Skateboard, which was like I take that company close to my heart. Wow. It was like one of my favorite companies as a kid. I got on the team. Insane. I got a pro board on them. But at that time, LRG started coming around, and my friends all worked there. Okay. It was just like, hey, all my homies that are they hazed me hard when I was a kid. Like they know I would go but I was a young kid. I'm like, 4 or 5 years younger. And I was a little kid, and they were just like, "Oh, he's good at skating, but whatever, And I kind of just got in. Like they were running it. They started wearing the clothes at the skate park and at the skate shop, and then it kind of just company was so sick that it wasn't big yet. It really wasn't, and it was just kind of getting a buzz. And I was like, cool. They gave me some gear, and then I actually got another clothing sponsor at first, Elwood Clothing, which was sick, and then when LRG started to really make a skate team, they kind of just hit me up, and they were like, hey, Rob G hit me up, and I knew the guys that worked internally there. Yeah. And they were like, dude, we really want you a part of our team. We're starting like a new AM team. We want you. We're going to go Peterson. And I was like, yeah. I'm in. I was like, sorry, Elwood, I love you. But they were cool with it. And it was something new, and something I just, it wasn't like, I didn't jump on the bandwagon because it was big. It was just something I really believed. It was super indie,
yes,
indie as fuck, and like,
right,
yeah, it was just something that was so like different and cool. And the people that worked there, Jonas, everyone in there, everyone was a character.
Really,
it was. Dude, everyone was insanely funny. You know, Kev D, like he's insanely, like he's nuts. I love it. Like, yeah. But like, no, like, you know, in a funny way, right? Like he comes into saying something random and witty and you're like, what the fuck? But like, that's what LRG is to this day still. But it's like when you go in the office, and the writers were all that way too. So it was, for me, I learned so much because I was such like just a kid from Laguna Hills, not really know, like I love skateboarding and watch videos, but these guys taught me a lot about what was going on in like hip hop and like whatever fashion. I didn't know anything.
Wow.
So it was cool just to be around it and and our team was so diverse. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. So,
you know, so literally you've been here since grassroots. Take me back to China. Cause I know, well, not me.
Yeah. That is a cool name, though, by the way. Yeah.
But China, the country.
Yeah.
LRG brought you to China and you guys filmed that tape. Chico, where's my money?
Yeah. Give me my money, Chico.
Oh,
yeah.
Give me my money, Chico.
Yeah, no, that was super fun. That was a time where China wasn't really discovered skate-wise, and it just started to get like this buzz. And our buddy Anthony Clairval, who's just like this international traveler, he was a filmer for the video. And he's like, dude, you wouldn't believe the spots that are here, and there's no skaters out there. So, and no one's filmed.
There's like no skaters out there?
There was a few.
Okay.
But I don't think back then there would be like little skate parks that were like not good there. And then the street spots that you're not supposed to skate were like unbelievable. Like they're like the best things you ever. So we went there and we were like, we started filming for the video unknowingly. We just started skating. And on that trip, that first trip, I'm skating and I skate this gap. Carl, so Chico is notorious for betting people. Okay. It's not like, hey, I'll give you $20 if you do it. It's more like, if you don't land it, you owe me $20, or I bet you $20 you can't land it. It's always against, and in a fun joking way. He bet Carl that on that try that I wouldn't land it. And I didn't know. I had no idea. I have the footage. I can send it to you guys if you guys need it for whatever reason. But like, I'm in the back, can't hear, and I'm like stressing out. There's people watching everywhere because they don't know what you're doing. They're like, who are these white guys or whoever, like skateboarding on whatever. And I ended up landing that trick, and everyone's hyped, but everyone's stoked that I landed it. But Carl is extremely hyped. And I'm like, Carl, I'm like, yo, dude, thanks. Like, thanks, Carl. And he's like, yeah. And then he goes like, get my money, Chico. And like, so, and then that phrase is what literally started everything. And that's how the name got discovered.
Wow. Did you ever have to give up any money? Did anyone gain any money? Or was it just more so part of the tape?
When I was young and I had like literally pretty much no money, I mean, I made like $1,500 a month back then, and we got per diem. You got like $400. And
that's actually really good.
That was good for a 3-week trip, for a 2-3 week trip.
Okay, what?
Yeah. Okay, but everything's cheap out there, so it's all good. But yeah, totally cool. $400, and I bet Chico. I had this. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I had like a few beers one night. We're all at dinner, and I had this like dream of this like trying this trick. And I was like, I can do it. He's like, I bet you can't do it. I'm like, you know what? I bet you $100 I could do it. Like on like cheering for myself. He's like, deal. And so I go the next day and I try for like, I'd probably 3-4 hours straight, to the point where like I can't even really move anymore. Wow. And I land on it a few times and I can't right away. But he literally took my money. And I'm not kidding. Like he literally, I was like, damn, like for me, that's a lot of like $100 at that age, when, especially at that time, that was a lot of money.
That still is a lot of money, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, so it was all fun and games. And at the end of the day, it was all with the team, and it ended up being a rad video. I was super happy to be part of it. That
is so amazing. But 20 years ago, does that even feel like 20 years ago?
Dude, that is nuts. Everything kind of, it doesn't blend together. There's different like periods of like, I can like, oh, that video and this video and skating the barracks, but like, I have all those photos in the old like computer somewhere, but like there's such good times. Like it's just when you're not really worried about anything. Yeah. You know, I'm not worried about, I don't know. Like I just know like I lived at my mom's house, I think, at that point. You know what I mean? I was so young still that like I didn't have to pay rent. I didn't have to do anything. I was just like, just kind of go skate. Yeah. And I wasn't even focusing on filming for a video. I was just like trying to skate and do my best.
Because that's truly your passion.
Yeah, it's seriously it's the coolest thing that ever came into my existence. So it'll always be that way. So I love it.
That is so cool. Yeah. I didn't realize in skate culture, having the song that you choose for your tape is like a big deal. Like, dude, you know, it can make or break your tape.
Yeah, right? No, it can people can look at you different, like not differently, but it can make your part better than your skating actually is. You know, like your skating could be awesome, but you put a ass track to it. You're like, damn, I don't want to watch that because I don't want to listen to that song. But I got blessed on that video because I had pushed some like, they weren't whack songs, but it didn't really fit. I kept pushing for them. And I didn't know. I'm glad that I kind of look back at it. I'm like, thank you, Claraval, Tyrone. Yeah. Shout out Tyrone Romero. He was a team manager back then. And he was like, you cannot skate to that crap. But they put a really dope song to my part. And I didn't think about it at first, but I watched it back. I'm like, that's one of my favorite songs I've ever skated to. So,
aw, yeah. How often do you rewatch that?
I don't not too much, but every now and then I'll watch the whole video because that video like does mean a lot to me. Because like I get goosebumps when I watch the opening when it's like all of us skating and this really epic music, and then it leads into Rodrigo's part. Mm-hmm. And I've randomly known Rodrigo since before LRG started. Wow. Like he came up from Brazil. We just met at a homie, like some dude's house, and we just became friends. And now me and him are like still friends this day, but on trips together. And you know what I mean? Like skateboarding's so weird how you can just. I would never have met this dude from Brazil if I didn't skate.